Hello everyone. Welcome to yet another hotel room, but this time with look at that. Okay, let me show you. Look at that view. Just oh my god. This is awesome. And of course, you got this light. That's cool. But today, we have an IEM to check out. We're gonna check this out of the Tangzu Xuan NV. Is that what it's called? The Xuan NV. That's the one, usual waifu on the box, of course. This is a collab between Tangzu and HBB. Think less, listen more. Don't question the frequency response, just listen. Alright, time to open the old packaging, and inside it's nice. It's all grey. Look at that. That's very minimal. Love it. How does it open? Oh, good old shaking box opening thing. Wait, oh, the IEMs are sunken. For a second, I thought the IEMs weren't there anymore, but it's alright. False alarm. It's all in there. Cable, I think. Case and cable over here. Just a hunch. Alright. Let's open. Oh, would you look at that? Oh my goodness. It's a chonker. It's a chonker. But it's got this beautiful red and gold thing going on. I like that very much. That is quite pretty. You can see the drivers in there. Yeah, it's basically a hot pot soup full of lush drivers. I like that. That's my kind of soup. Okay, so this is an interesting angle. Alright, sorry for the not made up bed, but we'll start off with the balanced ear tips because why not? And then we'll explore the wide ones. I'm using the smallest ear tips because honestly, that works better for wide nozzles. That way it doesn't stretch out my ear any more than it already gets stretched out from all these reviews. Okay, that's it's pretty comfortable in the ear. It's a big one, but that's in there. That's not too bad. Okay, because we're on the go, we're just going to use the Samsung dongle DAC. It's fine. I know audiophiles get very mad at this stuff, but quite honestly, for most IEMs, this stuff is fine. IEMs are not difficult to drive. You don't need massive amplification. A nicer DAC does make a difference to a point, but most people, it's not going to make as much of a difference as you think. There we go. Now we're all set and ready. Let's fire up the old Apple Music, shall we? I said let's fire up the... Oh, there you go. Takes a little while. Okay, so something I've been listening to a lot lately is this band called Nothing But Thieves, and the album is called Dead Club City. And let's just go into the first track, Welcome to the DCC, which is awesome for bass. It's really fun, like nice riding bass line. The key thing is to be familiar with your tracks and not try new tracks when you're really evaluating something like this. This is something I'm very familiar with. So it's building, it's rising. Okay, so dusk is sort of where it's at when it comes to mid-bass punch for me. Is really good, as opposed to the The-Audio Hype 2, by the way. That one's not as good as it should be for having two dynamic drivers opposed to each other. Dusk is where it's at. This one does it with a single dynamic driver, and therefore it's just not as punchy, but oh yeah, this is definitely satisfying. And it's clean. It sounds pretty clean on this track. And I'm listening to vocals now. I mean, this sounds really nice, okay? It's got that little hi-hat thing going on, so you've got the treble as well. What about $1 Million Baby? This is a track that's been taking the internet by storm, basically. Let's see how it does. I mean, this is a vibe. This is definitely a vibe. Decent sub-bass extension. Actually nicely detailed. Okay, this is making a very good impression starting off. Now let's throw it a few harder tracks to render. How about some Mammoth? Another celebration at the end of the world, which is an awesome track, by the way. And this is a lot more complex. This is like full hard rock, heavy metal kind of thing, so it's really fun. And it's a lot more for any IEM to handle. So let's see how it does. Nice sense of space. They're like, there's this little tom-tom that is off in space, like gives you dimensionality to the song, and that's actually coming across really well. Oomph in the low end for some people if you like that warm bassy sound. Maybe this is just a little less, but it is bassy without being too much, which is not something I expected from Hawaiian Bad Boy. I know this man loves his bass. This is actually really fun without being overbearing. Alright, so on the dongle, listenable levels are about 70-75%, I would say. So, this could do with a little more amplification than this dongle here, but most things like your truthier Shio that comes, that's gonna drive this just fine. Vocals sound slightly on the sharper side, but really, really nice. Male vocals at least sound really good. And treble extension seems actually quite nice and constrained. Like, it's not pushing treble too far ahead, as we've seen in some recent IEMs, just for the feeling of detail. So honestly, this is looking pretty darn good. And if that seems a little bit surprised, it's because I've tried Hawaiian Bad Boys collabs before. I mean, the Orina IC is one of my personal favorites, but a lot of his collabs are very flavored. A little too flavored for my taste, but some of them are done better than others, to be fair. This actually seems like it's okay. That's not bad. Okay, so here's the deal. I think there's a little bit of warmth in the voice. That is to say, I don't perceive that, that hum and cut at 300. I'm not perceiving that, which is nice because it doesn't neuter male vocals. That's good. In the bass, I have no complaints with this bass. It's nice, mid-bass punchy, there's enough sub-bass extension, but it seems pretty clear and pretty resolving, especially for a dynamic driver. Definitely not something I have complaints with. Vocals, I got nothing to say. I have nothing to say because it sounds natural, it doesn't sound too lean or too sharp, and treble extension seems reasonably good on all these tracks. It's actually pretty nice. It's got a nice bit of space. It's all in your head. It's not too wide a soundstage, but honestly, I'm liking this. The only thing left to see is, let's check out the frequency response and see if that matches up with what I'm saying. Alright, that's interesting. See that nice gradual uptick in the bass? That's what I'm hearing. A little bit of warmth, but not too much. Doesn't neuter the vocals, and it's just beautiful. Nice gradual bass rise into sub bass. And the sub bass isn't particularly elevated compared to the mid bass, which means this, the mid bass still has emphasis, and it's not all sub bass, which some IEMs do. And then it's just really nice U-shape, nice neutral mids, and then a nice rise to a peak of about 3 kilohertz. This is textbook. Honestly, this is just textbook, and then after that, it's really, really nice. Now, I don't see any graphs with the wide ear tips, so it's only one way to find out. And then after I'm done with all that, we should check out the price. If this is sub $100, let's say $50 to $70, this is going to be an absolute banger because it'll go straight up against the truthier Clinical series, and it's easily up there. Right, so let's try out the wide ones now. See, that's the problem when you've got something that's good. There's not that much to say about it. If something's really bad, something's really off, then you can say something about it. If something's really, really good, does something amazingly, something to say about it. It's not going to go up against $200-300 things, so I can't say, oh my god, this is it, this is the game changer. All I can say is that it actually doesn't do anything wrong. The bass is good, the vocals are... You see the problem? It's not a very interesting review, but that just means that it's a pretty solid product. Again, it'll come down to the price, which we will reveal at the end. You guys probably already know the price, I just haven't looked it up. But now that I've got the wide soundstage ear tips in there, let's try the same tracks again, but with a wider soundstage. First up is Mammoth, another celebration at the end of the world. Okay, this one's got a little more treble, and therefore you can... It's not really wider, it's just a little more trebly. Okay, I get that. Alright, next up is Given to Me by Michael Jackson. Lovely track. It's got Slash on the guitars. Excellent little... the guitar work is fantastic. And the vocal work is fantastic, but that guitar solo when it comes in, it's just such feel. Okay, yeah, so perceptually there's very little difference between the two. I do perceive a little more spiciness in the treble with the wide tips. Honestly, I prefer the balanced tips, but I'm boring like that. This is an easy one to recommend. This is so easy to recommend because the cable is nice. It's simple, it's nothing too complicated, but it's just this nice thick cable that is supple and soft and doesn't feel cheap. The IEMs look beautiful, absolutely beautiful. You get the tips are quite nice, they feel good in the ear, they fit well. You get the 3 sizes that you always, and the case is nice. It's small, it's pocketable, it's a nice leather feeling thing. this is just good. This is just a good IEM. The question is, how much does it cost? And the answer is found on linsole.com, who was nice enough to send me these. Also, there's an affiliate link down below. You can use that. I get some money if you buy something. This is something that you could think of buying because it's good. They also sent me the 7Hz Aurora, by the way. So if you're interested in that, comment down below. $79. Okay, yeah. That's pretty good. Now, this item is in pre-order right now. $79. Okay, hear me out. There are a couple of better things. The Keyfine Klenar will out-resolve this. I can tell you straight away. And it's got great bass and it's got a little bit of irregularity. I think this one's actually nicer and smoother in the treble a bit, but you can EQ the Klenar. The Delcy, that's also very good. If you want a little bit more mid-bass heft, the Xuan NV is right up there at $80. The Hexa and the Klenar both will out-resolve this. If you like a dynamic driver sound, the Delcy or this, both are good options. If you want a little more mid-bass punch and a little bit more, let's say, resolution in the bass, just a smidge, then the Xuan NV is a very, very good contender at the same price. Plus, the Keyfine Delcy has a shallower nozzle, so you might have some fitment issues. This one does not have that, but this is larger in the ear. Alright, you already know what I'm going to try next. I'm going to try the Dark Knight OST. I know it's boring, I know everybody's bored of that, but it's a thing that I'm very familiar with. That's more important than anything else. So, okay, so what the Hexa and the Klenar do is they resolve so well that there's even like forward-back separation. Like some things that are in the background sound like they're subtle in the background and coming forward, and that doesn't happen here. I'll be honest with you, that does not happen here. So outright resolution is going to be the Keyfine Klenar or the Hexa, but if you want that dynamic driver sound, if you want a little more punch in the mid-bass as opposed to the Keyfine Delcy, just a little more, this is very good. So here's the thing that I used to say. People who collect IEMs buy multiple $20, multiple $50 IEMs, and I'm like, don't do that. Just go for higher IEMs and you won't want the $50 IEM anymore. There is a noticeable jump. But if you want a collection of budget IEMs, the $70 to $90 price point, in my opinion, has such good flavor. Like you got that Hexa balanced armature flavor. You've got the Keyfine Klenar for the planar sound, and it does such a good job. And then you've got the Xuan NV for the dynamic driver sound and dual dynamic driver, so you're not necessarily letting go of any resolution and clarity, and you've got that mid-bass punch where you really want it without letting go of that too much, and a little more resolution in the sub bass as well. So this is a good time to have a collection sub $100. I still think you should push higher if you have multiple $100 to blow, but if you just want different flavors and if you want to have a nice collection to enjoy, then I think the Xuan NV has very much a place in your collection. This is a good IEM. So shout out to Hawaiian Bad Boy for doing a pretty darn good job. And shout out to you for hitting that subscribe and becoming a member. Would you like to win one of these or anything else that I get for reviews up for grabs, provided you're a YouTube member or a Patreon? Results are at random, but every few months I send something out to one of our viewers. Like recently, I sent out a pair of SimGot EA500 LMs to one of them. So you might be next. Subscribe, become a member, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay happy, stay peaceful, stay colorful. Namaste.